Hello. My hair gets increasingly longer with each video. I need to get it cut. Welcome to a review of Superman. Yes, I'm a punk rocker. Yes, I am. James Gunn, he knows how to pick an opening and or end credits song. I'll say that. I wasn't sure. I saw this about 2 weeks ago. The latest James Gunn superhero movie, the start of the DC universe. I saw this about 2 weeks ago when it came out, but I was real busy and I forgot. I forgot to record a review as usual. So here we go. I thought it was really good. I mean, first of all, I'll just say that I thought it was really good. Uh, Which I kind of figured it would be. It didn't like blow me away. But I also didn't have my expectations set too particularly high. Like I expected it to be good, but I I was not that big on James Gunn's technically this was not his first new DC universe project. He did the show Creature Commandos, which was an animated show for HBO Max, and that was actually like Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad were still within the old DC movie universe. Creature Commandos was technically the first one of this unit. It introduces Rick Flag Sr., who briefly shows up in Superman. I thought it was good. I thought it was fine. It's probably my least favorite James Gunn superhero project in that I thought it was just good. Uh, so I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about Superman because there's a lot of characters, there's a lot going on. He's trying to set up a whole new kind of world with this one. You can definitely feel it in the movie. I'll go into some of my negatives first because, I don't know, negatives are just easier to talk about. Why? I feel like this is just sliding up ever so slightly. Am I crazy? Am I crazy? Like my chin's just going out of frame slowly. Um, but yeah, I definitely could feel the pacing is a little wonky. There are parts of the movie. There's a certain sort of pocket dimension ish realm that Superman is kind of stuck in for a while, and with little spoilers as possible, they spend too long on certain things, like a little too long in sections like that. And then there's other parts where there's a lot of information that is being relayed, and it kind of they're pretty good about not full on exposition dumping, and a lot of it's not plot information. It's this weird case where it's not necessarily plot information that needs to be exposition dumped. It's like world building information. Like because this movie introduces a new Superman. I don't know why I'm doing air quotes. It does. It introduces a new Superman, but it also introduces an entire new universe of DC characters basically. Like it's the first of these DC projects that feels very clearly not set in or tied to the Zack Snyderverse DCEU, like that era of DC movies. And I think that's one of the strongest aspects about it is this like world building of a very like fun and fantastical comic book universe that still has like real world issues within it. The movie in general does a great job, and I'm sure you've probably heard all the online discourse about the movie talking about like, you know, real world issues like Israel Palestine conflict. And I'm not going to get into that too much, but it definitely does like comment on real world political issues and points out how in our real world we might need or want a figure like Superman, not to worship as a godlike entity, which was sort of the angle of the Zack Snyder movies. Is like if Superman was real, wouldn't he basically just be Jesus or God or whatever? I'm sorry, I yapped too fast and too much, but uh, it's more he's Superman is not a Jesus figure here so much as he is just like a guy they really, I mean, he give his whole speech at the end of the movie. I say speech, it's like a rebuttal to Lex Luthor's attacks against him. Lex Luthor feels his position against Superman, and he's one of the best parts of the movie too. I said I was going to talk about negatives, but I'm mostly talking about positives because my opinion is mostly positive. His critique of Superman feels like it comes from this place of. It almost feels like it comes from the place of like a Snyderverse fan dude bro of like Superman weak, Superman not good, Superman bad, alien like the idea that we should fear or revere Superman and that he's something like we've seen this a lot with Zack Snyderverse and even with all the sort of evil Superman stuff. And there's a plot development in this movie that feels very like, oh, we're commenting on all the evil Superman adaptations with this. We're like going to address that subject directly. Essentially, Lex Luthor tries to frame Superman as an evil Superman. And does so in a very interesting way that sort of forces. I almost wish we'd spent more time on that plot beat, but I also like that Clark Kent, Superman, does not really need to like stop for that long and he learns this new information and he digests it and he absorbs it, but it doesn't like really challenge his worldview that much because he's just a good person. He's just a good man. And I like it says, he's like, sometimes I mess up and sometimes I'm not like the best ever, but the best to ever do it. I'm not God. I'm just a man who's been given the power to help people, and I'm trying to help people. And the whole movie is about him helping people. I don't think I've ever seen a superhero movie more where its main character is more focused on helping people and saving lives rather than outpunching the big scary bad guy. And I think making Lex Luthor the main antagonist is a very deliberate choice in that regard. Whereas his enemy is someone that if he solved every scenario by just going in and beating the crap out of an enemy, he could go in and beat the crap out of Lex Luthor in 2 seconds and the movie would be over. But it's because he's like trying to do good, and it's not in this arbitrary like yeah, he doesn't kill people, but the whole like I'm tired of superhero movies framing not killing people as the ultimate barometer of moral goodness too. Like, oh, anything else you do doesn't like. I feel like Batman stories get sucked into this, right? Where Batman will like mutilate people, but he won't kill them. Like this, no. It's like the most heroic thing Superman can do is stop bad things from happening, save as many people as possible when the bad things do happen, and then by the end of this movie you see it inspire others to do the same thing, to stop bad things from happening. And sometimes stopping bad things from happening does mean just going in and taking out the bad guy that's doing things if there's an easily identifiable bad guy. But like ultimately the human cost is put at the forefront in this movie. Like the most emotional moment of this movie, it's hard to even talk about this without spoiling it, but I'll be vague. The most emotional moment of this movie is when a certain character is killed, and that certain character is not a hero, is not a superhero. He is a hero in his own way, but he's a guy. He's just a dude, and like his death really affects Superman. His death also motivates another character to stop being fearful and help Superman. And the movie's full of that, of just like these like motivational moments where Superman convinces someone else to step in and do the right thing, or the actions of the villains convince someone to step in and do the right thing. And I think that's a really like powerful, like that's a much more powerful what would what what would the world be like if Superman was in it message for the current moment than the Man of Steel era of Super, like that really justifies that really makes me wish there was a Superman in the real world and that we lived in a similarly fantastical world with plenty of superheroes. Uh, and speaking of that, the other superheroes. Let's all talk about them. The Justice Gang. There's been like there's the Justice League, and then there's the Justice Society in the movie Black Adam, and then there's the Justice Gang in this movie. Too many Justice names. I feel like they're all kind of the same thing. But we've got Guy Gardner, who's a Green Lantern, and I think it's really interesting that culturally, despite not having like a popular good cinematic adaptation, the concept of Green Lantern and that power set is common knowledge enough that it doesn't need to be explained by the movie at all. They don't, for all the things they do, maybe have to kind of like awkwardly spend time explaining. The Green Lantern power is just not explained. And I also think it's interesting that this is like Guy Gardner, the like third the like James Gunn didn't go for the easy, well-known Green Lanterns. He went for the obscure one and cast Nathan Fillion in a silly wig and made him kind of an asshole, and it works. It works great in the context of this movie. The whole Justice Gang group works really well. I really like Mr. Terrific. I really like Guy Gardner. I wish we got more of Hawk Girl because I don't feel like I really get her yet, but the whole group is kind of delightfully unhinged. I feel like they provide a lot of the more typical, like they're the ragtag team of weirdos that James Gunn has put into this movie, because you know he's great at writing a ragtag team of weirdos. Suicide Squad, Peacemaker, Guardians of the Galaxy, Creature Commandos, basically every superhero project he's done has had a ragtag team of weirdos. And Superman isn't really, you know, he found a way to include a ragtag team of weirdos in a movie that is still predominantly focused on Superman. And I feel like most of what these other characters do is they are necessary to the plot, but they also just serve a wider purpose of building out this world a little bit. Like, Superman is not here fighting alone. I feel like that's another rebuff of the Man of Steel kind of ideology from those movies, is Superman is not here alone, fighting all the bad guys alone, hiding in solace. Superman has allies, and even if they're not always as heroic as he is, they can be motivated to stand up, and Superman motivates them to be better heroes, even if they don't say it outright. It's like that little through line there. And he also motivates the non-superpowered people around him to like stand up and be strong. Lois Lane is, I mean, this is like the most involved I've ever seen Lois Lane, and I'm sure it's like not the most involved she's ever been in a Superman story, but I was surprised by how much of the movie is like following Lois Lane. And how do you say her name? Rachel Brosnahan? Marvelous Miss Maisel girl. She does a great job. A very natural pick for Lois Lane. Her chemistry with Clark is very believable. Everyone's just really well cast in this movie. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Oh my god. Bro's crash outs are so, like, he literally looks like he is on the verge of tears in basically like the whole finale scene. Whether it's I'm tears of joy that I'm beating Superman or tears of like anger, you know, like he hits the full gambit of emotions, and it's crazy. He's just a really fun character, and I'm so glad they didn't kill him off. Like, this is so clearly the start of an ongoing rivalry, of an ongoing comic book style hero and villain rivalry, the kind that the MCU just doesn't give us, because the MCU has had so many Lex Luthor tier villains that they just kill off after one movie, and it's like no, we're gonna get this guy for at least a couple more movies. This guy's gonna be a thorn in Superman's side for as long as he can be. Like, he's ready to. He hates Superman. Biggest haters in cinema. It's wild and it's great and I love it. I love that he's a little freak too, and he has these like little freak pocket dimensions. This little freak guy, and the Daily Planet characters are good too. I like that Jimmy Olsen is this like Giga Chad character that every woman is attracted to, but the actor who's playing him is kind of just like they casted the kind like not quite Michael Cera-ish appearance, but like a similar kind of like meek, mild-mannered looking young guy, and then just and that's sort of the personality too, but every woman is just crazy attracted to him because like it's a good bit. There's a lot of good bits in this. You know, James Gunn's humor is always hits pretty well for me, and I feel like it's integrated well in here without like taking away from the themes. Not that I've ever really had a problem with his humor, like taking away from the themes, but I was a little worried because this isn't your usual team-up movie that he's done. But again, he managed to find a way to include He included all his staples. The ragtag group of weirdos, check. The offbeat humor, check. The, optimistic end message, double check. Like, he got it all in there and he made it all work with Superman. And I have one other complaint. I think the main thing I was worried about is that the movie would be a little too crowded, and it was not as much of a problem as I anticipated, but there was a little bit of crowd. I thought the Justice Gang members were going to be the ones making it feel a little bit crowded, but honestly, they were, like, used the right amount. The thing that made me actually feel a little bit crowded for me, and it's kind of, I'm going into spoilers a little bit now, so if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend clicking off and going to see the movie. But there's just maybe a few too many plot lines going on, because you've got the Boravia Joranpur thing that is sort of Israel-Palestine, sort of Ukraine-Russia. It's these war between these two countries that Superman is trying to stop from happening. You've got all Lex Luthor's schemes and how they tie in, and his pocket dimension where he keeps all the people he doesn't like. And then you also have the Justice Gang and Lois Lane and all these other characters. And then you also have this, like, mysterious... This is where I felt like it was getting me a little bit, is, like, the third act has multiple sort of third act structure setups going on, where one is Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor essentially intentionally creating a big third act showdown conflict to, like, keep Superman busy so the war can happen, and then the other heroes have to go, like, stop the war, and that's what they're motivated to do. That worked great. All that worked great. Some of the stuff with Superman fighting in Metropolis as, like, it's getting cut in half by the, like, dimensional rift thing was just a little bit much. The thing that got me was I did not... There's this twist at the very end where this masked character that took down Superman in the beginning, like beat him in a fight, is unmasked and revealed to be a clone of Superman. I just felt like that plot beat, like I didn't even realize we were supposed to be like asking who is that under the mask until the mask got taken off, and then it was a messy, long-haired, honestly kind of Man of Steel Superman looking version of this Clark Kent, this Superman, which was I thought was kind of a funny, is like he's sort of like the Zack Snyder Man of Steel, but I think my issue with it is it's just a plot point that didn't really have time to develop. Like this character is revealed as a clone of Superman, and you'd think with the earlier in the movie, like, is Superman an evil Superman thing, you'd think Lex Luthor would have used his evil clone of Superman to, like, further spread that narrative. Or you'd think that an evil clone of Superman would spark a new round of questioning in Superman's mind of, like, his goodness versus his badness. But instead he just fights the clone and then pushes him into, like, the black hole thing, killing him, maybe. Which is, again, it's kind of like, okay, this hero we've seen just rescuing people the whole time and not trying to kill them. Here is where he goes mindless fight monkey mode against the clone of himself. And it didn't even feel like the clone was like a character. Like, he doesn't talk. He just kind of fights him. And I assume it feels like either an idea that was going to be more fleshed out in an earlier draft of the script, or an idea they're saving the full exploration of for a sequel, which, either is fine, but I just was left wanting in that. I felt that plotline, I felt that beat did not really hit and was not necessary for this already very full movie experience. And that's probably my biggest criticism of the whole movie, actually, is that one little plot point doesn't really work for me, and maybe they'll do more with it later that'll make it worth it for me, but for now, it's just kind of like there. I love the message, the whole, like, you're kind to everyone, the kindness is the new punk rock, like that's so cheesy, but it's so, like, good, like, this movie actually is like a great social comment. It's just such a great social commentary response to like our age of cynicism and online our age of cynicism and online disconnect, while like terrible things are happening around the world and nobody wants and people are too busy arguing to like stop them. There's just a lot of these subjects that I think the movie grabs onto without being preachy about them. I mean, people who don't want to hear it are still gonna get mad anyway. Oh, Superman's political, super woke. Yeah, maybe he is super woke. Yeah, maybe he should be more super woke, actually. Maybe he wasn't super woke enough. No, I think the messaging was handled with just the right amount of involvement without, like, becoming the whole point of the movie. Yeah, the more that I talk about it for this review, the more that I am like the little flaws really don't bother me that much in the when I pull out and see like the bigger picture of what the movie is doing and what it's like responding to, both in the world around us and in the world of like superhero stories. It's a breath of fresh air in just about every way. And I hope James Gunn continues to make more superhero movies that feel like a breath of fresh air in the very crowded IP hero landscape. So yeah, go see Superman. I mean, if you like any of the James Gunn superhero stuff, you probably already have seen Superman. But if you're feeling superhero fatigue, I feel like this movie directly addresses some of the reasons why you might be feeling superhero fatigue and combats them. So, yeah. I'll see you when the next James Gunn thing comes out. Peacemaker Season 2 coming soon. Arrivederci!